First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the Vice Chairman, Ambassador Abrar Hussain, and the Institute of Policy Studies, particularly Mr. Waleed, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this very important conference. I'm thankful to the chair, Dr. Fakhrul Islam, and I'm very glad to see Professor Dr. Adam Saud, who is our dean from Beria University, and Mr. Taimur Fahad Khan, who is my former student. And thank you, Dr. Tughrel, for sharing your insights on Ukraine war and its impact. So much has been discussed about the Russia-Pakistan relations, and almost all of us agree on this thing that they are in transition and they are in a process of evolution. So much of the thing has been talked about the bilateral relations between the two states, and as many discussants have pointed out very correctly, that they are moving upward, they are in a phase of transition. But I would like to see the relations between Pakistan and Russia in the context of multilateralism. So the topic that I have been given is strengthening ties, Pakistan-Russia cooperation in international platform and evolving foreign policy. I was given 8 minutes, so I made my presentation according to the given time. So this research that I'm going to present seeks to explore the significance of multilateralism, international cooperation and collaboration, and strategic shifts, particularly in the case of Russia and Pakistan. Moving forward, this is the sequence of my presentation. So, international forums, of course, are very, very vital platforms upon which nations they engage in diplomacy, economic collaboration, and security cooperation. So this signify multilateralism, which is interlinked with the multi-level governance that tends to enhance the regional stability. So it is very important for us to understand that what is the significance of multilateralism and multilateral diplomacy, particularly in the phase where international order is shifting, the power politics is and economics and everything is, bringing change in the international political order as well as economic order. So it's very, very important for the nations to collaborate, for the nations to cooperate with each other. So the multilateralism would become increasingly significant. It has been and it will continue to be increasingly significant as a mechanism for collective problem solving, conflict resolution, and global governance also, which I think Russia aimed to transform also. And of course, Pakistan also deemed to need to have the diversification. So the multilateral institutions like especially those institutions in which Russia and Pakistan are part of or would be part of, such as United Nations Organization, Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, and the possible inclusion of Pakistan into the BRICS. So these would provide a platform for both states to collaborate while reducing the reliance on unilateral or bloc-based politics. So this would not only do that, but it will also foster the diplomatic and strategic diplomatic engagement, strategic partnerships that would allow both the states, especially the middle power like Pakistan and the major power like Russian Federation, to not only diversify their alliances, but to navigate through power asymmetries and assert their roles in shaping the global politics. So through multilateralism, these states would be able to engage in multilateral governance frameworks to address the shared challenges that both states have, So it will not only strengthen the multilateral governance, but that will also strengthen their bilateral bilateral relations also. So Pakistan's and Russia's participation into these international forums will strengthen their bilateral ties, enhance their strategic autonomy in the changing global order, and it will be an important avenue for the states to diversify their alliances, particularly in the sense that without over reliance on traditional alliances, they would be able to diversify their alliances. And engaging in these multilateral organizations would provide the platform and avenues to diversify their partnerships to counterbalance the Western influence and promote the economic relations and security interest of the both states through alternate financial mechanisms, for instance, defense collaboration, regional connectivity, and such things. So both countries, I believe, can leverage these platforms to address the shared challenges such as terrorism, energy security, and geopolitical realignment. So moving forward, talking about the evolving foreign policy approaches, I think much of the thing has been said about how both, especially Professor Dr. Adam Soud had talked about how the Pakistan's foreign policy and how both states have evolved from the previous animosity towards a more cooperative stance towards each other. So Russia and Pakistan's evolving foreign policy approaches, they reflect a strategic recalibration. Now, this strategic recalibration is, of course, driven by the shifting global power dynamics and mutual interest in regional stability. Both of them, the most important thing is to get out of the dominated orbit of the Western power influence, in which, of course, Russia want to reassert itself as a global power, and Pakistan want to diversify its economic and political relations with the other major powers. One thing which we have to understand is that the proximity between Russia and Pakistan. There is a lot of geographical proximity, and Pakistan and Russia's relation should be viewed in the context of and should be understood, and policies should be formed in the context of the geographical proximity. Because of the geographical proximity, we have a lot of shared interest, whether they are geopolitical interest or geostrategic interest or geoeconomic interest. So because of the regional proximity, both states tend to believe that and tend to cooperate with each other, as well as both states should now reassess their previous policies and to reformulate them in a more active manner to come close towards each other, forgetting about any differences that they have. So we all know that Russia was traditionally aligned with India, which has expanded. But now, if you closely see and study the foreign policy concept of the Russian Federation, it is clearly mentioned that the world has been changing and Russia needs new partnerships. So Russia, I think, has understand the fact that new partnerships has to be made because of the emerging new factors and actors. So it had expanded its engagement with Pakistan as part of its Look East policy. And I think they are seeking new partnerships beyond West, particularly in the South and Central Asia. On the other hand, for Pakistan, like I discussed before also, that strategic diversification is very, very important for Pakistan. Pakistan has long been aligned with the Western influence, enjoying the benefits always, as well as the cost that it has paid. Now, Pakistan has also understand the fact that Pakistan needs a diversification in its foreign affairs, which Pakistan tried to do that and unfortunately was not very successful because of its own constraints, whether they are political or economic constraints, but I think the policymakers in Pakistan, they understand the fact that we need to get away from the Western dependencies and to cultivate more multi-vector diplomacy and to deepen the ties with the other major powers, particularly Russia and China. With China, of course, we enjoy a good relationship, but for Russia, in the realm of defense, energy, and multilateral diplomacy, I think both of the states, Pakistan is also doing that, along with the help of China, I would say. Now, there are growing cooperation in international forums like SCO, UN, and the possible inclusion in the BRICS signify that the Pakistan and Russia both are now into more pragmatism, and it underscores a pragmatic alignment. Of course, driven by the shared interest, which are regional security. Like I said before, that due to geographical proximity, we have a lot in common and we have a lot to share with. So regional security is one of the fundamental concern of both Russia and Pakistan, because security is something that Russians are also very much inclined towards to make and ensure the security, and on the other hand, Pakistan is also very much would like to ensure its security, both traditional and non-traditional. And of course, the economic situation of the both states. Pakistan's economic situation is, of course, not very good, and Russia, because of the sanctions, they are also facing the economic problems, and the rising multipolarity is one thing where both states, they would need to find new partnerships in different regions so that they can strengthen their position in the emerging multipolar world. So their engagement in these platforms shows a gradual yet significant transformation in the bilateral relations, moving beyond past divergences towards structured collaboration in defense, energy, and diplomacy. While historical constraints persist, but these forums, are very important platforms where they can minimize the mistrust and maximize the trust and cooperation in the different realm. So these platforms are very, very important because they would provide them the strategic space for dialogue, for dialogue, cooperation, and policy collaboration, which will strengthen their long-term relations. So moving forward towards the key areas of bilateral engagement, I would like to discuss this bilateralism in the context of international forums. Basically, Shanghai Cooperation Organization is the foremost international forum or multilateral forum in which, and it is the only regional organization where Russia and Pakistan both are the permanent member states. So Shanghai Cooperation Organization is the foremost international platform or multilateral forum where both can achieve a lot of things as discussed before and will be discussed. So Shanghai Cooperation Organization, of course, we know that Pakistan became the full member in 2017, and it serves as the strategic platform for Russia and Pakistan, and it is a very important platform which would offer the avenue for the security cooperation, economic engagement, and diplomatic alignment in the shifting global balance of power. Through SCO, there is, as it was mentioned in another presentation also, the regional anti-terrorism structure, RATS, where this is very important platform to for the counter-terrorism, where both states can learn from each other and can enhance their counter-terrorism efforts through intelligence sharing, which is already happening, and the military cooperation between the two states. So this would be the foremost, the RATS would be the foremost platform where both states could enhance their security concerns, both can address their security concerns, and the issue of the Afghanistan also could be addressed in that manner, because of course terrorism and extremism is something which had a spillover effect, and Afghanistan is a factor, as a state, which is very, very important for both states to understand that these could, these could help them to minimize their security issues. Next is the United Nations organization. Both Pakistan and Russia have common grounds and common stances over various international issues. For example, the rights of the Palestinians, for example, the concept of sovereignty, multilateralism, and balanced world order, and balanced approach towards other states. Moreover, BRICS is the institution or a multi-level governance model in which Pakistan is still not the member, but Pakistan expects that Russia would support the inclusion of Pakistan into the BRICS, and Russians, they also, through various statements, said that they perceive Pakistan as a friendly nation, and that if Pakistan would be included in the BRICS, they have no problem. And of course, China would also support into the entry of Pakistan into the BRICS. So if that could happen, of course, that would bring fruitful things for the Pakistan and Russia both. How it will bring, of course, it will promote the alternative trade and financial mechanism, such as the de-dollarization and the trade and investment in the local currency. And if that could happen, of course, that would be beneficial for both of the states. So, of course, it will be more beneficial for Pakistan because Pakistan would have access to the Russian markets, towards its banking system, towards, into the resource network also. On the other hand, of course, Russia would be able to enjoy, and Russia would be able to diversify its economic partnerships and access to the South Asian, to the greater South Asian in the context to the greater, they already have, but that would expand, of course. And if it would expand, that would help it to counterbalance the Western sanctions by expanding to the non-Western trade alliances also. So this collaboration could pave way for joint infrastructure projects, energy, diplomacy, and greater financial autonomy for both of the states. So moving forward towards Russia's and Pakistan's cooperation and international platform, the nature of relations, what is the nature of relations in these platforms? So the nature of Pakistan-Russia cooperation in these international platforms is also evolving from a limited interest engagement towards a more structured and strategic partnership, of course, driven by shared geopolitical and economic objectives. But one thing that we have to understand is that the entry into the SCO would also facilitated by the Chinese. And China is a very important factor where Russians kind of have more trust towards Chinese, and Pakistan had been using Chinese as a facilitating role to support the Pakistan's entry into
Dr. Saira, if
SCO.
you could conclude your remarks now, please.
Okay. So this emerging dynamic suggests a more institutionalized and long-term partnership where both nations leverage multilateral platforms to expand their influence and navigate the shifting global order. I have already discussed that through RATs, they could learn from each other's experience in the realm of counterterrorism and to enhance regional security, particularly Afghanistan is a factor which is troublesome and worrisome aspect for both of the states because that is threatening the peace of the region, and of course that is not in the interest of Pakistan and Russia. So Afghanistan is one that arena where both states have mutual interest, and counterterrorism is another. Through SCO, there had been a lot of cultural exchanges programs, which of course, based on because a significant number of Muslim population is residing in Russian Federation. So there had been a lot of cultural exchanges programs, and there's more potential for the cultural exchange. So where Russia and Pakistan could do that. So while concluding my presentation, the Pakistan-Russia Cooperation International Platform reflects a strategic shift in both countries' foreign policies, yet it remains constrained by geopolitical complexities and structural limitations. Like when the Russia-Ukraine war occurred, Pakistan had to again choose the sides, which is not possible for Pakistan to choose the sides. So Pakistan would like to, I believe, be independent in its foreign policy approaches and choices, but unfortunately, geopolitics and international order was designed in such a way where Pakistan had to get into a troublesome situation. While their growing engagement in the international platform signals a diversification of alliances, it is largely pragmatic rather than transformational, driven by situational convergences rather than deep-seated strategic alignment. Like I said, that most of it is facilitated by the China. Otherwise, it should be open for the Pakistan. There should be more trust between the two states. Furthermore, their engagement in multilateral forums lacks a clear long-term strategic framework, making their collaboration largely reactive rather than proactive, unless both states address the structural challenges and institutionalize their partnership. Beyond ad hoc cooperation, their engagement in international forums may remain symbolic rather than truly impactful in reshaping the global power dynamics. Thank you very much. That's all from my side.